You've been breathing wrong your entire life, and I'm gonna show you how to fix it. But first, picture this. You're swimming down the pool, but when you get to the end, you're huffing and puffing, just happy to be alive. Then you look over and you see someone half your size or maybe twice your age, and they're just gracefully swimming by. It looks like they're not even trying. Meanwhile, you feel like you're about to die coughing up a lung. This is most people who swim. But today, I'm going to show you 10 ways to improve your breathing without needing to swim endless laps so you can swim longer using less energy. If you're new here, I'm Coach Ferris, and this is Whiteboard Wednesday. Let's dive in. The first thing you have to do is stop holding your breath. One of the things that makes swimming so much different than any other form of fitness, running, weightlifting, playing tennis, paddle, is the way that you breathe. So I want you to practice this as I say it out loud. When you're on land, you breathe in your nose and then you breathe out your mouth. But when you're in the water, it's actually the opposite. So you're gonna breathe in your mouth and out your nose. Go ahead and try that. In your mouth, out your nose. It's completely different than what you do on land. So the first thing you need to do is realize that, and that's when you start learning how to swim. Just blowing bubbles and getting comfortable in the water is completely different to how you breathe on land. The second thing, you need to fix your head position. Now, at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a few important drills that you can incorporate to apply all of these skills. And when I say head position, take a look at my beautiful illustration over here. So you look at the head position, the water is right in the middle of the head. If you have a high head position, meaning your entire face is out of the water, and instead of looking down, now you're looking forward, well, that's gonna cause your hips to sink. And as a result, your legs are going to displace more water, and that's going to make you slower. It's also going to make it a lot harder to breathe because now your body position is in the wrong orientation. And that's why it's really important to focus on your head position, because your head is the steering wheel for the entire body. I love this expression because it's so true. We talked about the highest point of drag, not only being your legs that are sinking, but it's actually your face. So if you lift your face up, not only is it going to make it harder to rotate and breathe to the side, but you have all of this resistance of water slamming you in the face, because remember, water is 800 times more dense than air. Number 3, you got to keep one eye and one ear underneath the surface of the water. Now, this is from a technical perspective. The way you want to think about it, your fingertips enter the water. Let's say it's your right arm, and you're going to rotate onto your opposite side. And as you drive that rotation with your entire body, you want to focus on keeping one eye and one ear in the water. And what this is actually going to do, it's going to create an air pocket to be able to breathe. So if we take a look at our illustration over here, watch the pink. So we look at this, well, if you think, well, how am I supposed to get a breath if literally half of my mouth is under the surface of the water? What happens is, the faster you go, the more displacement you're going to create with your head, and you're actually going to create an air pocket right over here. And so this air pocket is what allows you to stay on your side, keep one eye and your face deeper in the water, so that way you can actually get in your breath, and it's actually going to feel pretty simple once you get the hang of it. And the reason why, again, we keep our head in that position is because we want to keep our legs high. We don't want to lift our head up. This is a big mistake, lifting your head up. Even if you breathe to the side, if you have this angle, right? So this angle right here, we don't want to have this angle. If anything, we want this to be 180 degrees. So that way we are horizontal from the center of our head all the way through our body. And that's why we keep one eye and one ear underneath the surface. Now, the next thing to improve your breathing is to do interval style training, because part of it is the technique, which we just talked about. The other half of the equation is simply training correctly. And the way that you can improve your breath control is by having a progressively more challenging workout. So if you go to the pool and you just swim the same workout all the time, let's say you go in and you swim 40 lengths or 20 lengths, or you do intervals, meaning you get a certain amount of rest, but you're getting too much rest, or you're not increasing the variation. It's one of the main reasons we developed the My Swim Pro app, which now when you load up the app, you can actually ask it to build you a specific workout to focus on a specific skill, and it'll give you drills that lay it out. So you can go in here, type in, I want to improve my breathing technique, and it'll give you, 2,000 meter workout filled with breathing drills and progressive intervals that are designed specifically based on how fast you are and what your goal is. So make sure you check out the My Swim Pro app, link down below. This progressive overload progression is what's going to help you not only get faster and develop your technique, but also build your aerobic capacity while you're swimming. Really important. Next up, you got to swim slower. When you're learning how to do technique, you have to slow things down. Sometimes we think, okay, we need to be really fast. We need to train, push ourselves, increase our heart rate. But when you're training from a breathing technical perspective, sometimes focusing on technique, you got to be more patient than you want to be. And so that means, like, let's say, you're focusing on getting your hand in the water, you're reaching out, you're extending. You want to feel like your arm is just reaching out. Your arm is like a pillow and your head is just resting on it. Be patient. Don't rush it. A lot of times people are rushing through all of these things, and you want to work through the different gears of swimming that you have, because we all have different speeds. And if you feel, well, I have slow and slower and I can't swim fast, well, that's why you're here. So thank you for being here. But just know that you do have a lot of different gears. And when we're focusing on technique, we want to make sure we are changing our speed. And when we change our speed, it actually changes our body position. So if you go too slow, what's going to happen is your entire body position is going to start to sink. And when you go slower, this air pocket that I talked about is actually going to be harder and harder to develop. So it's a balance. You don't want to rush through it, but if you go too slow and you're barely moving, it can actually make the fundamentals that much more difficult. And number 6 is you want to focus on rotating your body, not just your head. So when you think about how you breathe, it's not just your head rotating, it's literally your entire body along your spine. This is true in our long axis stroke. So freestyle and backstroke are long axis, meaning we rotate along our spine. The short axis strokes are breaststroke and butterfly. This is where we like hinge at our hips. So we're going up and down. In freestyle and backstroke, we're rotating across that plane, which is intersected with our spine. So when we think about rotation, you want to get your whole body involved. That means your kick, your legs, your hips, and your entire body is rotating with your shoulders. And it's not just your head. Again, we're going to talk about some drills that you can incorporate some of these skills immediately. So you want to leverage your body's natural movement, and really it's your rotational momentum right over there. Number 7, you can use a snorkel. Now you might be thinking, well, that's great, but I want to be able to swim without any equipment. The reason why you use a snorkel are twofold. There are 2 main reasons to use a snorkel. The first is it allows you to focus on your head position. Remember, if you have a snorkel, right, and I'm going to use a different color here for a live illustration. Let's use this purple, right? So we're going to assume we've got a snorkel, and this is what it looks like. This is a beautiful snorkel. My God, that's the best snorkel I've ever drawn, right? That's the snorkel. So the benefit of that is you can focus on tilting your head down and focus your eyes on the bottom of the pool. Remember, the wall over here isn't going anywhere, so don't pay attention to it. Focus your eyes down, and then you're going to have the air is coming in through this snorkel. Now, the other thing that a snorkel is going to do is not just help you focus on your technique with your head and where your catch is and pay attention to that stuff, but the snorkel is also going to help you refine your aerobic base and lung capacity. Because think about it, all the air that's being sucked in to this snorkel, it's going through a little tube. And when we breathe, remember, in your mouth, you're used to getting a lot of air really quickly. When you have a snorkel, you have like a constricted amount of air. And so if you want to get the aerobic and vital lung capacity benefit of swimming with a snorkel, you got to make sure you're using it a pretty good amount. It takes a few sessions and 25, 50 meters just to get the hang of it. And then you're going to notice it, especially when you push off the wall and you do that underwater, or if you're advanced to do a flip turn. The snorkel helps not only with technique, but also with the vital lung capacity. And then next, you want to bilateral breathe. So depending on how strong of a swimmer you are and what your experience is, you might be comfortable breathing every 2 strokes or every 3 arm strokes, maybe every 4. I always recommend people to stick with every 2, maybe every 3. But if you're watching this, you're probably breathing every 2, which is totally fine. But we don't want to be dependent on one side. You should be very comfortable breathing on your non-dominant side. It's similar to right now, I'm right-handed, right? But I have no problem carrying something in either hand. If I were to write, I'm not going to be as good with my left hand, but I can use both of my hands very effectively. And you want to think about your breathing in the same way. You might be stronger on one side, but you can still use the other side. And so the reason why this is important is because you want to balance how your rotation is. And if you can do it on both sides, all of these skills that we talked about, it's going to make you that much more efficient and also understand your own physiology in the water. And that's really cool about swimming because you can manipulate these things on your own. Now, I do have some breathing patterns listed out here. So bilateral breathing means you're breathing on both sides. So we're going to forget about breathing every one stroke, because if you did that, it would look kind of like this. You're breathing literally every single stroke, and you're just going to look like a worm squiggling or pasta through the water. Instead, it's every 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, right? If you're going 11, you're a stud. But most people, it's going to be 3, 5, or 7. And 7 is pretty difficult. You need a pretty good aerobic base. Maybe you're doing that in a long course 50-meter pool, but you don't need to do this all the time. Incorporate this gradually into your workout. So let's say in the warm-up, you're used to breathing every 2. So in the warm-up, one of the sets, you're going to breathe every 3 or every 5. You may even see that in the My Swim Pro app. It's asking you to alternate your breathing pattern. And so that means doing something that you're normally not comfortable with. So if you're used to breathing every 3, maybe it's breathing every 5 or 7, or every 4, every 5, 6, or 7. And then you want to stop kicking. Now, this is one of the most controversial takes that I have, is that if you're swimming for any extended period of time over 50 meters, you should not be relying on your legs. And the reason for that is because your legs, when fully firing, can use up to 80% of your total blood supply. That means if you're using your kick and you're really working hard with your lower body, all the oxygenated blood is going there. But when we swim, we know a lot of propulsion is actually going to come from our catch, and it's coming from our body rotation, or even in breaststroke, right? Breaststroke is the one stroke where your kick is very dominant in the propulsive nature of the stroke, right? You can kick breaststroke pretty fast, and you can do that for a long time. Whereas in the flutter kick, it's a lot harder to maintain that. Your upper body in freestyle pull can do a more effective job actually moving you through the water. It's a lot more efficient. And so because of that efficiency, we don't want to depend on our legs. So when I say stop kicking, what I really mean is not depending on your kick for the entire stroke. If you're trying to go fast, everything's firing. Your legs are full charge, your whole body, you're cranking through. But most of the time, you're not trying to go fast all the time in a workout. And so most of the time, you're going to be swimming in a 2-beat, maybe a 4-beat kick, and you're not doing a 6-beat kick. 6-beat kick means you're taking 3 kicks for every 1 arm stroke. So instead of worrying about the kick, focus on the propulsion with your upper body. Because when you kick a lot, you're also creating a lot of drag. I don't really talk about it very much. When you think about these legs right here, right? So we're kicking up and we're also kicking down. Every time we kick, we are displacing a certain amount of water. And so you have to think, remembering this guy right here, you got to think, how much more benefit am I getting from a propulsive nature compared to the amount of resistance that I'm creating? So you're creating drag, but you're also creating propulsion. And so the kick is the most inefficient way to balance this equation. Your upper body, on the other hand, is a lot more efficient. You can create a lot more propulsion as compared to the amount of drag that your arm has dragging through the water. So really focusing on that. Now, let's talk about some drills that you can apply immediately. My favorite is the paddle on the head. This is literally where you take a paddle, stick it on your head, and this really allows you to focus on your head position because you have resistance right here. And so as you swim, the water is pushing against the paddle on your head, and you're going to focus on breathing to your side. If you lift your head up, the paddle is going to move. Now, this is one of those drills where actually the faster you go, the easier it is, because you want the resistance of the water pressing the paddle onto your head. It goes back to what I was talking about, where the different speed that you have, it changes the physics of how your body is actually positioned. So remember that and keep your eyes down when you have the paddle on the head. The next drill are 3 strokes plus 12 kicks. A couple of variations here. You can go, 1 stroke plus 6 kicks, but the idea is you take 3 strokes and then you're going to kick on your side. And when you're on your side, you're just going to balance. And when you're balancing, you can focus on rotating your head to the side, get your breath, and then bring your eyes back down. The reason why this drill, or the 1 plus 6 is a good variation, is because you get to focus on staying on your side, and that helps you keep that one eye and one ear in the water when you rotate your body and your head to get the breath. So this is a great drill you can incorporate all the time. Next is single arm freestyle. This is a little bit more advanced, but the idea here is that you're taking arms with a single stroke. Your opposite arm is on your side, and you really want to focus on rotating your entire body to the side, and your head stays connected. Then your head can actually initiate the end of the breath, which drives the rotation. So I'm going to try and demonstrate here on land in front of the whiteboard, but you get your breath, you rotate, and then your head comes out, and then the rest of your body follows. If you watch a really good swimmer underwater, you can see how the head is very connected with the rotation of the breath. A little bit more advanced, put your fins on. It'll make it that much easier to be able to do. Next, we have countdown and variable breath control. These are some of my favorite. I'm actually going to skip to variable breath control first because this one is a good one. So variable breath control is where you do a set, and similar to this example over here with bilateral breathing, you have a set number of breaths you need to take. So a set that we used to do in college, we would do 10 50s. I think we did them on the minute interval, something like that. And on the first one, you're going to take 3 breaths. Then on the second one, you take 2 breaths. Then on the third one, you take 1 breath. Then on the fourth one, you take 0 breaths. I think we did 8 actually. We did that 2 rounds. So we did 8 of these and we did that 2 rounds. They might be thinking, holy cow, I can't do 50 yards or meters with no breathing, especially on that interval. That's fine. Maybe instead of 3, you take 7, then 5, then 4, and then 3. Or you take 2 breaths down, 2 breaths back. Whatever this number is, try and adapt it. And that's what variable breath control is. So you go into this set and you know exactly how many you're going to do. So this, again, focuses on your breath control. And then you want to be very intentional with your technique while you're getting your breath, regardless if you're taking 3, 7, or 0 breaths. Now, the next one is countdown. Now, this one's a little bit more challenging. You definitely want to do this with some supervision and a coach. But the way this works, again, it's more focused on your breath control than the actual technique, but allows you to feel calm under pressure. And that pressure happens when you feel like you're running out of oxygen. That's when technique falls apart. It's when you start to spin your wheels and you don't really know what's going on. So the way this works is you're actually going to pause before you push off the wall. So normally it's like ready, hop, and you push off the wall in streamline. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to sink underwater or just float on the surface, and you're going to have some countdown number. So maybe it's 10 seconds. So what that means is you're going to actually hold your breath and you're just going to float for 10 seconds before you push off the wall. Maybe your feet are in the gutter, you're just kind of floating in a dead man position. And then on 10 seconds, the coach, or if you're using the watch, you'll just count that down, and then you're gonna go and you're gonna push off. And then from there, you can either do a set like this or you just swim regular. The idea is to put you under a little bit of a physical stress. So that way you know what it's like. Okay, you're underwater, you're floating for 10 seconds. Then you go into that underwater dolphin kick with a little bit of an oxygen debt, and then you pop up and you start swimming. And if you're doing a set like this, where you do, maybe you do 4 25s like this, I'm gonna write this over here. You do like 4 25s at the minute. And then on these, on the first one, you're gonna go 10 seconds. Then on the second one, you're gonna go 15. Third one, you're gonna go 20. And on the fourth one, you're gonna go 25 seconds. So what that means is, on the fourth one, you're gonna hang out at the wall for 25 seconds without breathing before you push off. Then at 25 seconds, you're gonna sink underwater, push off the wall, hit the streamline. And if you're doing something like this, you're gonna go the whole way without breathing. So you'll go maybe 40 to 45 seconds of swimming without taking a single breath, and you want to keep your composure. If you're going to take a breath, that's fine. Just make sure you plan that out ahead of time and you progressively build into this. So that way, maybe you don't start out over here. You start here and you work your way to more challenging sets each time. That way, you're going to feel more confident in the water. You're going to build your lung capacity, and all this technical stuff that I talked about is going to be much more easily applied. Now, if you want to learn how to swim perfect freestyle, you got to check out this video I made over here. I'll see you over there, and happy swimming.